morning. Good morning. Welcome to day 4 on the Rewiring Your Brain World Summit. This has been really an amazing journey so far, and really appreciate all of you joining us for this journey. And we're going to do the guided meditation and breath work again this morning. We're going to work with deepening our embodiment for this neurosomatic mindfulness approach to mindfulness and awareness meditation. And it's a deeply embodied, neuroscientifically informed, and non-dual approach to meditation and awakening. And we're employing the body as the portal into the deepest levels of awareness and being. And so the arc, and I covered all this at length in the first session, so we're not going to go over all that territory. I'm just going to say a couple things and then we'll go right into the practice. But again, the arc is moving from self-directed self-regulation, where all practices begin. You choose an object of mindfulness. In this case, it'll be the body, and you place your attention there. And when you notice your mind has wandered or your attention has wandered, you simply bring your attention back. And that's called attention switching. And continuing to do that builds up the capacity of mindfulness. However, that can be very difficult if we don't really include the body at a deep level, because our minds are very active and we'll often find ourselves chasing thoughts and kind of bouncing back and forth between discursive thinking and being present. And so in this case, we're going to really employ the body and tap into the body's capacity for learning to auto-regulate itself into attention stabilization and deep awareness. So we'll move from self-directed self-regulation to auto-regulation to pure presence and being. Another way to look at that is we're moving from doing to being, or from right effort, which all practices begin with right effort, meaning not too much, not too little, and then into effortlessness. And then the other part of the practice, the arc of the practice, is that initially we're witnessing our experience, which is, again, where all practice begins, the ability to step back from our experience and observe it or witness it. So we develop the witness mind or witness awareness. And this is a very, very powerful step, because from that place, we can actually choose how we relate with the content of our experience in our life, rather than just being kind of lost in it and operating habitually. So you begin by pulling back a little, and then you can observe your experience. And then from there, when your attention stabilizes enough, you can relax into just direct experiencing without the need for a separate experiencer. In other words, we collapse the subject-object relationship, and we don't need to have the observer, the witness, or the person who's having the experience. There's just direct experience. And even further, we can drop into pure being. So, for example, we might begin by observing the breath. So we're watching the breath flow in and out, or observing the breath flowing out, or feeling the breath flowing out. But there's still a sense of I'm feeling the breath flowing out. Eventually, as attention stabilizes and we have that intention, we can relax into just experiencing the breath directly, without the sense of there being an experiencer, just direct experience of breathing, feeling the breath directly. And then even further, we can relax into simply being the breath, being the breath. So that's the kind of arc of our practice here. And what it requires is establishing a deeply felt physical presence of the body as an anchor that anchors us in nowness. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin the practice. So if you would, find a posture that you feels relatively uplifted and upright, and at the same time relaxed and stable. And as always, if for any reason of physical limitations, you need to do this practice lying down or standing up or leaning against the back of a chair for support, please do what works for you. But if you are able to sit up with a relatively uplifted, upright posture on a chair or cushion, that can be helpful. Then I invite you to close your eyes. And this will be helpful in terms of activating internal perception, what's known as interoception, the body's capacity to feel itself from the inside out. So I invite you to close your eyes for the practice if you're comfortable doing that. If not, you can at least lower the gaze, looking down the bridge of the nose to reduce the visual input. But I really encourage you to try it with your eyes closed. Eventually, in more advanced neurosomatic mindfulness, we learn to do it with our eyes open and even with the gaze up, looking straight ahead. But for now, I encourage you to close your eyes because we're going to be going deeply into the body. So far, in exploring the body in great depth, we did it generally the first day, did a body scan. The second day, we worked with our skeletal structure. And yesterday, we worked with the musculature, actually feeling in to the body at these levels. And this is based on the fact that the entire body is sensory, all the way down to the bones and including the bones. And everything in the body is a living organism, all containing neuronal cells, all connected to the central nervous system, and thus all feeling, all sensory. So today, we're going to work with our vital organs, viscera. And so I'll guide you into that. So to begin with, just feeling into the body as a whole. And again, when I say body, I'm describing or referring to the actual tactile sensations that we can feel. So there is a conceptual overlay on the body, which my first teacher called psychosomatic body, made up of our concepts about the body, images, memories, and so forth. And we actually need to make a gentle effort to drop beneath that into the actual direct experience of physical sensation that makes up the lived experience we call body. Body is just a word or concept, but there is a lived experience, and it requires a gentle effort to drop into that direct experience of sensation. You're invited to begin by feeling all the sensations that you can notice and feel all across the surface of the skin from head to toe. Could be the contact points between your body and the chair, your feet in the ground, those pressure points. Could be sensations arising at the interface with your skin and your clothing, feeling the texture of your clothing, the weight of your clothing. Could be sensations related to any movement of the air where you are, or the air temperature as you're experiencing it on exposed skin surface areas. The passage of air across the nostrils and or pouted lips with each in-breath and out-breath. We're focusing to begin with on all the sensations you can notice and feel on the surface of the skin from head to toe. And by connecting the dots, so to speak, we're weaving an awareness of that entire external field of sensation, which actually travels through a different set of neural pathways to the brain than internal sensations. Highly myelinated pathways, so our skin is very sensitive to touch. And we can begin to feel ourselves enveloped and sheathed in a somewhat womb-like structure of sensate experience, which is the interface, or the boundary, if you will, between our body and the space surrounding us, which ultimately is a very fluid boundary, an energetic boundary, but in relative terms, in our physical relative world, there is a clear boundary. And we can feel ourselves surrounded by the space, which is actually not empty as we often assume it to be, but actually we know space is made up of gases, it's tangible, and we can feel ourselves held by the space. And I encourage you to even use your imagination to feel held by the space and to regard the space as benevolent, as benevolent. And part of that is feeling supported by the earth, feeling the earth underneath us and feeling really supported by the solidity of the earth and our natural connection to the earth. We are earthlings. We're of the earth. We're made of the very same elements as the earth. We came from the earth ultimately. The earth is our first mother. So feeling supported by the earth, feeling supported by the space surrounding us. And then you're invited to begin exploring the internal landscape of sensation, activating this capacity known as interoception or interoceptive awareness. So to begin with, just feeling the overall weight and mass of the muscles and bones, the entire body, force of gravity holding us down on the earth. Being aware of any places of discomfort in the body, if there are any, and just being willing to feel whatever's there. The basic practice is simply being willing to be with whatever arises in our experience, and that's of the body, all the sense perceptions, thoughts, emotions, the whole thing. The practice is just being willing to be with what is without needing to change it in any way. And in this case, we're really focusing on physical sensation, that landscape of physical sensation that we call the body. And all sensation arises across the spectrum from pleasant to neutral to unpleasant, comfortable to not so comfortable, pleasurable to painful, and everything in between. And so the practice is just being willing to feel what's there. And especially leaning into discomfort, because we're hardwired to chase comfort and avoid discomfort. And that keeps us locked into a very mechanical way of being. So by being willing to courageously embrace the totality of our human experience, that which is pleasant and comfortable, as well as that which is unpleasant or uncomfortable or even painful, is really how we reclaim our dignity as awake, conscious human beings, rather than just falling into the mechanical way of chasing comfort and avoiding discomfort. So you're now invited to flash an awareness of your skeletal structure. And you can use imagination or even visualization to sort of prime the pump in terms of our awareness, our sensitivity to the sensate field. So any image you have of your skeletal structure, you could flash that in your mind's eye and just begin to really try to feel into your bones. One place where we can often get a sense of that is with the opening and closing of the rib cage, where you have the intercostal muscles between the ribs, helping the rib cage to open and close. And perhaps we can feel the movement of the ribs and the connective tissue, the intercostal muscles, the ligaments, tendons. We can feel that there and feel the movement against the skin and so forth. And again, the bones are sensory, even the marrow of the bones. So just using your imagination to feel into the skeletal structure and feeling held by that, supported by that. And then, as we did yesterday, we'll add to that the musculature. So feeling all the muscles from head to toe that allow us to sit or stand upright. And again, remembering that our muscles at rest have stored kinetic energy that we can feel. It's almost like a fine motor car on idle. Or if you've seen a big cat, lions, tigers, cheetahs on video, film, or in the wild, you can just see that energy rippling under the skin. So our muscles store energy and we can feel that. And then in particular today, we're going to work with sensing into, feeling into our internal organs. And we'll begin with the heart. So seeing if you can feel into your heartbeat, if you can be aware of your heartbeat. And in scientific studies of interoceptive awareness, it's awareness of the heartbeat that's used as the marker. So see if you can bring your attention to the heart area and see if you can begin to feel the heartbeat. If it helps, you can visualize or imagine the heart there pumping away, our trustworthy heart that just pumps away, does its job beautifully 24/7, keeping us alive, pumping oxygen throughout the body to every cell in the body. As well in the chest area, feeling into the lungs, feeling the lungs filling with air on the in-breath, releasing the air on the out-breath. Feeling that blood-oxygen exchange at the alveoli deep in the lungs. The blood returning from the entire body to the heart and releasing carbon dioxide, and then receiving fresh oxygen and carrying that oxygen throughout the body to every cell in the body. So feeling into that process of oxygenation in the lungs, feeling the action of the lungs. Internal sensation travels to a different set of neural pathways to the brain that are less myelinated, and therefore internal perception is more subtle. It can be quite acute when there's extreme pain, obviously, but generally it's subtler than external sensation, but nonetheless very experiential. So feeling the heartbeat, feeling the process of oxygenation with the lungs, opening and closing. Feeling the diaphragm muscle contracting and relaxing. Diaphragm muscle contracts, creating a vacuum in the lungs. And then it relaxes, releasing, allowing the lungs to release the air. And then moving our awareness down the spine and down into the abdominal cavity and all of our vital organs connected with our digestive processes. the stomach, and kidneys, and liver, and gallbladder, and spleen. The liver is sort of lower right. Kidneys are in back, and the small of our back. And then our small and large intestine. And perhaps you can notice some digestive processes there from the most recent meal you've had. When we direct our awareness in the body, there's an expression where our awareness goes, so the energy flows. So by directing our awareness specifically to places in the body, we're bringing awareness there and energy and warmth and actual life force energy. And so we can have a sense that's very nurturing and healthy for the body. So we can have a sense that we're bathing that internal landscape of all of our vital organs in awareness right now. Bathing the internal landscape of our vital organs with awareness. And we may only get a very general sense of sensation in this part of the body, or we may at times get a very specific quality of sensation in a particular organ. At the very least, we could appreciate the amazing complexity of the body, all the different processes that are going on, keeping us alive, continually regenerating life in the body at the cellular level. Just really appreciating the aliveness of our body and the complexity and beauty, the design of our body, which works so beautifully most of the time. And we know things can go awry and we can experience an illness of some kind or even a breakdown with one of our organs and have serious illness. But most of the time, thankfully, this incredibly complex organism operates just beautifully. We're just feeling into the entire internal landscape of all of our major organs, the heart and lungs, all the vital organs involved in our digestive processes, and just feeling into that aliveness and making a gentle effort to drop beneath any conceptual layer into feeling the actual aliveness, the physical aliveness of the body, exploring this vast internal landscape. By synchronizing our body and our mind, joining our awareness with the body very directly, with the direct experience of sensation, and developing this deeply felt physicality, physical presence of the body, we're anchoring ourselves in nowness. We're facilitating that shift from the default mode network of the brain, which is responsible for all the discursiveness, the noisy part of our brain, if you will, to the task positive network, and our mind naturally begins to settle down. Our attention stabilizes ever more deeply, and our awareness becomes ever more profound. And as we're doing this, we're getting all kinds of internal data, and the body, heart, mind system is learning to auto-regulate itself into deep attention stabilization and profound awareness. and our practice becomes more and more effortless. For the last minute here, let's just rest in a kind of global awareness of the body, feeling the body inside and out from head to toe, feeling ourselves held by the benevolence of the space, feeling the incredible aliveness of the body from head to toe, inside and out, and letting our awareness rest in that sensate field effortlessly. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes, coming back with a soft gaze, just appreciating being here, being present. So thank you all very much. And now I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Michael Stone, who's going to lead us in breathwork. So welcome, Michael.
Thank you, Fleet. So first of all, I'm Michael Stone. I've been doing facilitating breathwork sessions for over 15 years. And I started in holotropic breathwork and became a facilitator in that modality, and then created my own modality called neurodynamic breathwork. And I've done over 1,500 live sessions in that. It's online and in person. And today, what we're going to do is a normal neurodynamic breathwork session is 1 hour of breathing. But today we're only going to be doing like 7-8 minutes of breathing. It's more to give you a taster, not to dive you into a deep experience. It's going to take a long time to come back from. So, just to give you a sense of just with even 7 or 8 minutes of breath, how it can really change your physiology, change your mental state. So first, I'm going to give you a little bit of background. Again, I know some of you may not even know what breathwork is. And breathwork is not new. It's basically just the conscious control of the breath to influence and change your emotional states, your mental well-being. It's been around for millennia, all the way to ancient times. And it's just that now we're kind of adapting it and kind of recreating it to meet the needs of the modern world. And that's part of why I created a modality that can be done online. So people can do it anytime, just all they need is an internet connection, basically. Don't have to fly to a city with a facilitator or this or that. So, okay, so the basic principles of breathwork or neurodynamic breathwork is that, first of all, and most important, everybody has what I call an inner guiding intelligence. And this is this part of our psyche that we normally don't have access to, that already has all the answers that we need. In the same way that our body, for instance, if you get a cut, your body will know exactly what it needs to do to heal the cut. Or if you get sick, all the trillions of cells know exactly what they have to do to bring you back to wellness. Your psyche has exactly the same capability. It has this drive towards wholeness, health, and well-being. It's just that because of all the tens or hundreds of thousands of thoughts that we have every day, all the emotions that we have, the catastrophizing that we do, the cortisol that courses through our body when we get worried, we just can't see that part. We don't have access to it. So today, through breath and music, we are going to quiet the ego mind to at least some degree and get access to that quiet inner voice that normally we can't hear at all. Okay, so the Three things that I recommend today is that even though it's only a 7-minute session, I'm going to give you a bit of the same instructions as if this was a whole hour session, is basically you just want to allow whatever wants to happen to happen. The two watchwords are trust and surrender. So surrendering to the experience, surrendering to what's happening in your body or what's happening in your mind, and also trusting that what's happening today will be exactly what you need. Your inner guidance knows much better than I do what you need to experience today, or what's the most effective way to experience it, and what the most effective experience is, and which way to have it. And the breath work that I do, neurodynamic breath work, is just like this. It's unguided. So like in many breath works, and most breath works that are out there, during the session, the facilitator will give you some or a lot of guidance. Meaning he or she will say, breathe deeper now, or connect to love, or do this, or do that. And this breath work is not like that. This is all about training your brain to be more effective in accessing your own inner guidance in your everyday life. And how do you train your brain? Basically by doing things over and over again, doing them repetitively. And in this case, as you do this kind of breath work, you're training your brain to look inside for the answers and to surrender what wants to come up from your inner world, versus listening to the outer world and looking for your answers in the outer world. So in other words, if I was to guide this experience, first of all, we have over 200 people here today, and it would be impossible because everybody's going to have a different experience. So, but even if I said, okay, I'll just guide them all the way I want to, it would be creating a dependency. Well, yeah, I had this experience, but Michael was there to guide me. That's why I had it, which is completely wrong. All this experience is basically coming up from your own inner being. So the purpose of this is to create this neural pathway to train your brain again, that you do have the answers within. You don't need the outside world to fulfill you. Basically, you just need to connect more deeply to yourself. And we have a society, a culture that gets a benefit in people looking into the outside world for their happiness and not feeling self-empowered. Here in the United States, if people were completely happy just the way they were, the entire society would collapse because people wouldn't go out and buy their bigger TV or buy their bigger house. They'd be fine. So the way advertising works is to convince you that you can't be happy right now. But when you buy my TV, you'll be totally happy. Or when you buy my car, or when you buy this, or when you do that. So this is more kind of like a reconditioning, a retraining, that you do have the answers within, and you can create your own happiness. You can create your own joy. You can create your own emotional states in life. It doesn't depend on the outside world. And you can find what your own purpose in life is. And more than half of the people that breathe with us do basically either get more clarity or find their purpose in life as they start to connect more deeply inside. So today, again, during this session, no guidance from me. It's going to be guided from your own inner world. And if your body wants to move, just let it move a little bit. If your body wants to make sounds, let the sounds come out. If any emotions come up, they may or they may not, because this is a short, gentle session. You just want to let them flow. Those are 3 ways to really get the full experience. And the types of experiences that people can have in neurodynamic breathwork, just to give you a sense, is there's 4 general categories. The first is transpersonal, which is where you might feel like dissolved into the universe, connected to all that is, just feel more self-love. Sometimes people feel like they're in a past life, or they might feel like they're going through their birth process again, and which is the most traumatic thing that you'll ever have happen to you as you're fighting for life, and just kind of converting from a water being to an air being. Sometimes people just have sensory experiences where their body wants to release. You might get cold, you might get hot, you might get tensions that, like let's say you have a tension that creates in your shoulder and then releases. That's another way that your body does it. And anytime you suppress an emotion into your body, there's always a bioenergetic block that's attached to it. So many times in breathwork, the first order of experience is to release those tensions. And that's one of the ways that it does. It gives it more tension first and then gets the best release. I mean, you may get visuals where you go back into your childhood and see things from a different perspective, more empowering perspective, or you may get fractals like in psychedelic experiences. And one interesting thing is that in breathwork, in some ways, if you do like fMRI brain studies, like it does react in a somewhat a similar way to psychedelics, where the default mode network is taken offline, and which supports the quieting of the mind. So the deeper breathing creates certain physiological changes in your body, which support that happening. So it just kind of naturally will happen. And more so in the longer sessions. Again, today we're just doing a taster. And so you just have to focus on the breath. That's it. Just focus on the breath and let whatever wants to happen. And all those experiences could happen. There's no better or worse experience. And, especially it's a shorter session today, you may just get a gentle relaxation experience because we're using much more, gentle music than we do in the hour sessions. In the hour sessions, again, there's a trajectory in the music. It starts with music that has a bit of a beat to it. It comes to this peak where there's kind of these more like epic music where you feel like you're really breaking through something. And then it comes down to a very gentle conclusion. And the music supports your journey. It supports you in diving deeper into wherever your psyche wants to go. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's get started. And let me talk a bit about the breathing technique. And again, the major purpose is to move more air through your system. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to, first of all, breathe through the mouth, not through the nose. Again, this is a technique that is for neurodynamic breath work, not something you want to do in your everyday life. In your everyday life, you do nose breathing. But in neurodynamic breath work, mouth breathing. So in and out through the mouth, full deep breaths. So when you breathe in, your belly expands. When you breathe out, it goes back to normal. So it'll look something like this. So my belly's expanding when I breathe in. So taking full deep breaths in and out through the mouth and breathing in a way that's connected. So you're always breathing in or breathing out, just creating a wonderful circle of breath. And just at normal speed, like it's not like a, so again, the fullness and depth of the breath is the most critical, and just normal speed is totally fine. In the actual hour-long sessions, we ask you to breathe a little bit faster than normal. But today, for the shorter session, just normal speed is totally fine. And just find a breathing rhythm that really is comfortable for you. So don't create tension in your body when you're doing this deeper breathing. It's just kind of like, imagine you're waking up for the day. It's a wonderful day. You're taking your first full breath of air, just enjoying the breath of life. And I'm making a little sound on the out breath. Some people, that supports their journey, some people not. It's totally optional. And again, just feeling into what your body wants to do. So full deep breaths in and out of the mouth, always breathing in or breathing out, and just staying focused on the breath. And towards the last couple minutes of the music set, again, it's like 7.5 minutes, the music gets quite gentle. And if your body wants to come back to normal breathing, it's totally fine. It means that it's kind of ready to start coming back from the journey. So, but definitely for the first bit of time, you do want to make sure that you take those full deep breaths to get the air in your body to start creating some of that physiological change to support the quieting of the ego mind. And if something comes up, make it part of the process. So in other words, let's say one of the pieces of music, oh, I don't like that piece of music. Let yourself feel the frustration. Let yourself feel whatever's coming up, express it into the universe, and that's your process for today. So your psyche is using all these things in the outside world to create an inner experience that it wants you to have. Or let's say your internet glitches out for a second, you lose the music and you get irritated. Let the irritation come. Or someone walks into your room in like 4 minutes in, and you shoo them away and I was right in this thing. Let the anger come out. So whatever happens, make it part of the process. And, again, this is a shorter session, so there's a good chance you won't have any strong emotions like in the longer sessions. But whatever it is, just let it be. Even if your mind doesn't quiet down, even if you're just in your everyday chit-chat mind, just be with that and just notice it. And just notice how crazy making it is when you're really just allowing it to be and watching it. And how you're dealing with all these tens of thousands of thoughts every day, just being present with it, whatever is happening. Okay, so at this point, we're going to get started. And so you want to keep your eyes closed or an eye mask on during this entire session. So again, just closing your eyes is fine, but you don't want really bright lights in the room. It is a little distracting. Or if you want to grab an eye mask, that's totally fine too. Opening your eyes really kind of jars you out of the process. So eyes closed all the way through. You can do this either sitting up in your chair, or if you want to, you can even lay down. Either way is fine. There's no better or worse. You just want to be in a comfortable space. And if you're wearing tight clothes, like around your belly or whatever, just loosen your belt or whatever, just so you can breathe fully and deeply without any restriction. Okay, so I'll just give you just a few seconds to get set up and to, if you want to run, get an eye mask or something, I'll give you about 30 seconds and then we'll get moving forward. And while you're doing that, I'm going to get the music set up. And the other thing is you want to listen to this in whatever way you get the best sound quality. I mean, I know normally like when you're just hearing the speakers, it doesn't matter, but with the music, it does. So if you have like an over-the-ear headset, I would recommend that. But it also works with just earbuds or just kind of nice computer speakers. But just do the best you can, basically, in getting the best sound quality. And also sometimes when we share music in Zoom, it's a little bit of a different way of hearing the Zoom meeting. And sometimes if you have Bluetooth headset, there can be some issues. So if you just switch to a hardwired headset, that's good. And you also might want to shut down all of your other connections to the internet, so you make sure that you get the music coming through as good quality as possible. Yes, and not where you're listening to this, of course, or the Zoom meeting if you're in the waiting room right now. Okay, so let's get started. So if everyone can just close your eyes. Just bring yourself into your body, take a deep breath. Now just do a quick body scan to see if there's any tension you can release that's stuck in your body. Starting with your feet, just visualize all the tension going out of each body part as you go through. Just being as relaxed as you can in this moment. So with the feet, calves, upper legs, torso area, belly area. Chest area, the face, relaxing the jaw muscles, forehead muscles. And maybe giving your shoulders a little stretch. Relaxing the arms and the hands. Just taking one last scan through your body and just seeing if there's any more tension you can release. And now bringing your attention to the fact that whenever there are people doing breath work together, there's always an energetic net of support that is available to all the breathers. And today we have a powerful group of over 200 breathers from around the world to support you in your journey. And just do a little visualization now of one person from the group putting their hand in your left hand and another putting their hand in your right hand and allowing them yourself to feel the warmth and support of their hands in yours. Just visualizing this worldwide connection with everybody doing the same thing at the same time. And now, deepening the breath, starting to take full deep breaths in and out through the mouth, just at normal pace, making sure as you breathe in, your belly expands on the in-breath and goes back to normal on the out-breath. No gaps, and keeping the body relaxed. Full deep breaths. And if your body wants to make a little sound on the out breath, just let it do that. If it doesn't, it's fine. Just trust in your body. Full deep breaths in and out of the mouth, staying with the breath. Breathing fully and deeply. Deeply and fully. Fully and deeply. Eyes closed, attention in your inner world. Just being with yourself. And now just giving yourself permission to surrender to whatever wants to happen in the next few minutes. Letting go of control and just allowing life to flow through you in any way it wants. Staying with the breath. Staying with the breath. And in a moment, the music will begin. Have a wonder-filled journey. Now, if it feels right, just keeping your eyes closed for another short period of time, just being with yourself. Bringing your breath down to a normal rhythm, if you haven't already. Just, if it feels right, staying in your inner world just for another couple of minutes. Being in a place of stillness and presence, just feeling the breath going in and out of your lungs. Being with yourself in a very tender, open, and accepting way. Some people like to put their hands over their heart just to really feel the connection to themselves. You can see if that feels right. And in life, we're always very busy. We almost never take time to just be in the moment. Our mind is always in the future or the past, always expecting, remembering, judging. Our body is always in the moment, in the now. So just being with our body just for a bit. If it feels right, just thanking our body for being this amazing vehicle that carries us through this journey that we call life. Working 24/7 to keep us healthy and whole. Never complaining. Just doing what it needs to do. Sending ourselves love and compassion. Mhm. And if it feels right, just to complete this, just give yourself a big hug. And thank yourself for all the difficulties that you've processed through in this life, all the joy that you've brought other people, just for being who you are. And when you're ready, if you haven't already, you can gently open your eyes. And when you do, though, just open them with a soft gaze, a very gentle energy as you come back into your everyday life.